This is going to be a couple of tips and tricks when you're changing the wheels out on your big truck. There's just a couple of little things that people don't think of that causes them a lot of wheel trouble, particularly with bud wheels and even with pilot center wheels. Anyway, let me get this wheel off, and I'm fixing to put aluminum wheel on there, and I'm going to show you what you got to do before you put it on, and it's important. I'm trying to stay kind of halfway clean today. Got good clothes on. I hadn't even got a 1/2-inch air hose out here. I'm just running my 3/4 gun off a 3/8 hose, so this may go kind of slow. I done broke them lugs loose, so I cleaned them up good with a wire brush on a drill and put some BG on them. And if you don't know what BG is, that's another kind of penetrating oil. I just prefer it over the others now. I got one there that don't want to move good. I'm going to put some penetrating oil behind it and screw it back in. I'm not sponsored by BG, but I'd like to be. Behind that one. Rather than have to replace a stud, I'll run it back and forth a little bit here. I'm going to lay that lug in a different place and put it back on that same lug bolt. Remember, it's right here to the right of that. Need my 2-wheel dolly. Always try to have plenty of junk in your way. That's my secret to success, is I've got junk everywhere. if you use a two-wheel dolly like that, you won't mess up the threads on your studs so bad. Now this is going to be a spare, since I'm going to aluminums on the front. Alright, now we're going to get to the important part. A lot of people have the wheel run out be not very true. And the issue is they don't clean that surface up right there, whether it's on a drum or a rotor. They don't clean it up, and they don't clean up the back side of the wheel. I'm going to clean up the studs a little more. Then I'm going to switch brushes, and I'm going to clean up the back of the wheel and clean up that drum a little bit right there. Folks, I don't care how good you think your threads look, go over them with a wire brush. Get that dirt and grit out of them. You can use them again. A lot of people replace studs and lug nuts every time they change wheels. But I don't. I try to take care of my stuff. Now I wish I had my blue flap disc. This is one of them, it's the plastic bristles. I wish I could locate the one for my angle grinder. I'd use it right now, but it's in my other truck or something. I don't know where it's at. It's in my service truck, I think. Don't want to dig for it. My brakes are real good on this truck, and I know I'm probably not going to have a wheel off of it for another 10 years, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little paint on them drums, make it look a little better. Something y'all may not have noticed, that's not a regular everyday surface grinder. That is a buffer, and that's what I prefer to run my wire wheels on, so I don't have to run them at 12,000 RPM. Because at 12,000 RPM, those wires will come out and go in your leg. Let me get the air hose and blow that off and paint it a little bit. I need to tell you something right now. Whether I was going to paint that whole drum or not, I would still paint this surface right here, because I don't want that rusty metal reacting with that aluminum wheel I'm fixing to put on there. I'm not sponsored by Krylon either, but I'd like to be. It's that Krylon High Heat Black. It's equivalent to hot rod black. It's just more heat resistant. And on a brake drum, you need it. Alright, now I could go a step further. I could slide that drum on off of there and clean up the surface on the back of the drum and on the outside of that bearing hub and paint those too. But I'm trying to keep this video as short as I can, and I'm going to have to edit it down as it is, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to roll that wheel over here and show y'all how I like to clean up that wheel while that paint dries just a little bit. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, y'all can see that. That's in the frame. I'm not going to change it. Well, I might move it a little here. All right. Like I said, it's real important that that surface be clean and that that surface be clean. That way you don't get any of this when you're going down the road. I mean, those wheels are aluminum, but they will oxidize just like that steel. It's different, but they will oxidize. And if that surface ain't clean, those aluminum wheels will oxidize a lot worse. Now I prefer to use this plastic brush on the aluminum wheel, but I may switch over to the buffer there if this don't get it. Not quite good enough. Not for the middle. I was cleaning all this up just to get all that extra debris off of there so it don't throw my wheel out of balance. Alright, I want to take a minute and say here, normally you don't have to spend that much time on one. But these wheels had been on the front of a dump truck that had done a lot of asphalt hauling. And there was some asphalt stuck in places in there. And you want to get all that off. I've got beads in that tire. I put balance beads in it. But they're not going to do any good, or at least not as much good, if I leave that rim dirty on the back. I'm fixing to go get something and scratch and clean just a little bit behind the valve stem where I couldn't get with a brush. And then we're fixing to turn around here and put that on. Not the tool I was looking for, but it'll do. Like I told you, it helps to have plenty of junk laying around. I see some more asphalt right there. I got to get that. Alright, that's not perfect. I'm going to take a peek at my brakes. They still look really good. We got rain approaching. So y'all may miss out on some of the most important part right here. I always use anti-seize, and it's raining. All right, one more item. Before you put that wheel on, because it's an aluminum wheel, and I'm going to turn the tripod back here, because that's an aluminum wheel, you take and put you a little bit of anti-seize right there on the taper. My dauber's messed up on my brush here. All right. Watch for splinters on that aluminum wheel when you're doing that, because most people don't use this, and you might get a splinter in your finger, but always do that. jack has leaked down again. That's okay. Should be using my dolly. Get a tire bar. You'll thank me for that trick with the anti-seize later. This lug nut right here is going right back where it was. Going easier this time. That one don't like that lug nut or lug bolt. Them two lug bolts there is boogered up on the end just a little bit. Takes a little patience. Something else you want to do, take your socket, set it down there by your wheel, and do what I do. Lay it down because the letters are rubbing. True. Now that one runs true. It is bumping that socket a little when them letters was hitting, but it ain't bumping it at all when I put it down here on the edge, except where it says steer tire. You always want to do that and make sure that that tire is really running true. If you got beads in there, balance beads in there, you ought to be good. Remember that about cleaning up and painting your surfaces right there, and cleaning up the back of that rim real good where the mating surface is right there on it. Now, I did clean up the back of that wheel with an actual wire brush. I would not do that on a wheel that I might polish and put on the rear later. But these will always be on the front of this truck. And I'm going to polish these wheels at a later date. And I'll make another video about that, because I do want them to look a little better than that. But I'm going to polish the outside of them and make them look good. And like I said, we'll make a whole nother video about that. I just had to get these new tires on this truck so I can go to work pretty soon, and thought I'd share it with y'all a little bit. Now, I may be way more picky than most people, but that's how I like for my tire mounting to be done right there, or my rim mounting to be done. You got to have clean surfaces. You can't just pull the wheel off and stick another one on. That's not acceptable. I don't even like to do that on the side of the road. I want them mating surfaces to be clean, and I always want to use some anti-seize on them lugs and a little bit around in there on the rim. Now, that ain't as important to put some on the tapered part of the wheel on a steel wheel, but on an aluminum wheel, you'll thank me later for that. That way they won't get galled and your wheels will last longer. I mean, you wear aluminum wheels out taking them on and off if you don't put some anti-seize on there. It needs a little something for lubrication for that tapered part of that lug nut to spin against, you see. Anyway, that's it. Y'all do me a favor, like and subscribe and share this with your buddies, especially the ones that like to be real particular. I'm going to get this truck on the ground. I got to move it. We got a thunderstorm coming in. Y'all take care.